The biggest milestone I ever achieved, and it brought me to tears, was 1,000 subscribers. Have you ever been in a room with 5,000 people? Here's the problem. There's a lot of potential issues that could happen with deep sand substrates.
Well, hello. Come right on in. You're at Father Fish.
Father Fish.
Happy to see you.
Hey, I just heard about you, and I love what you do. Here's one thing that I knew I was a fan. When I knew I was a fan, you were live the other night, and somebody asked you advice on a certain fish, and you went on to create an entire documentary within your live stream. I was like, bro, that could be a video. Now, what is your first name? Or I'll call you Father Fish. No, let's not ruin it. I'll call you Father Fish.
Thank you.
I'm gonna call you Pops for short. When did you get into the hobby?
Oh golly, as a child.
As a
young child. Well, I'm 80 years old.
You're 80?
I'm 80 years old.
No shit. Pardon my French, but it deserved it. I thought you might have been early 60s and could turn gray a little younger, and 80 years old, and he's on social media. Listen, so have you kept fish consistently since then?
Pretty much. A lot of the time I was in college, I had a different career. I was a missionary, a Christian missionary for about 25 years. But I always had fish tanks, always had one or two. Whenever I had a chance, I would have a fish room or a group of tanks. I finally retired in about 85 and started setting up fish rooms. So I've been doing fish seriously now for about 35 years.
That's insane. What do you think? Do you think that I'll have fish at 80 years old?
You betcha. By then you'll figure out how to keep them.
True.
I'm all about deep substrate.
Okay.
So if that's something you're open to, it's something you're not doing, I think.
I'm not doing it because here's the problem. What comes with like a larger channel is the influence that comes with it. And if I advise people to do deep sand beds or deep substrates, there's a lot of potential issues that could happen with deep sand substrates that the average beginner hobbyist isn't going to be able to cope with. Like the anaerobic conditions are great, but once nitrogen gas starts being released or it ages by 6 months to a year.
You really need to follow some of my videos. I deal with all those issues. I strongly promote people setting up a dirted tank using Walstad's method, and I've refined it to overcome some problems. We're at 100%. I've got probably 1,000 people doing it. I have a shop, and I promote it to all new people who come in, and they're all flamingly successful.
But when you call it the Walstad method, yet you've manipulated it to the point where you're going to make it work for you, is it still the Walstad method?
Certainly not. No, you're absolutely correct. I just did a series of 3 videos. The first was a review of Walstad. The second was, here are 2 of the main issues left over from Walstad and how I deal with them. And the third is the Father Fish method. So yeah, my method is not hers. I do things she does not do or did not do when she wrote the book 20 years ago. The 2 critical issues, basically the ones you talked about, is how do you deal with the anaerobics? I have a solution for that. And the other was, how do you make this last longer than a year? And I've got a solution for that.
I think that all of that is fascinating and interesting. It's bringing it to the masses, and I think I can help with that.
Fabulous. I love it. Joey, I'm fired up you came. No, I admire what you're doing. I especially admire that you have used your hobby as a way of of building a life and a family and a home. I think that's extraordinary.
Well, it was never always the case. When I first got on YouTube, that was like almost 12, 13 years ago, there was no way to monetize. There was no ads. There was no revenue for the average person. So it was never a goal of mine. And to be honest with you, it took me 3 years to get 25 subscribers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible, like on the fish tube, do you think it's possible to get there anymore?
At one point, I would have told you no 5 years ago, 4 years ago. But one of the things that I know that I've had an impact on was showing people what's possible in aquariums and how big you can get and how successful. And I know a lot of people that's built their channels based off of how I make videos, and they try to replicate them, etc., and they get some popularity off them. Do I think that it's too late for everybody? No, I think that we're going to come full circle where people want originality again, and they're going to want to watch somebody for a very specific reason because of the way they film or the way they talk or what they know, as opposed to what's entertaining me and what's exciting and fun right now. And I think that time is like within the next couple of years.
That's good news. That's exciting. I just started my YouTube channel 1 year ago, September last year. And Lucas gave me a shout out.
Lucas Brett?
In October of last year. And that got me to 1,000.
No way. Okay.
Absolutely. I'm approaching 5,000 now. But it's been a slog. It's not been, jumping ahead.
Well, one thing you got to look at, Pops, is this. Have you ever been in a room with 5,000 people?
Yeah, actually I have.
It's a stadium. So a stadium of people have said to you, I want to see more.
Huh.
The biggest milestone I ever achieved, and it brought me to tears, was 1,000 subscribers.
Wow.
Not 100,000 and not 1 million. When I hit 1 million subscribers, I was laying in bed all alone at 3 o'clock in the morning. I went online to see what would happen and see if nobody cared. But that first 1,000 was like, I could not fathom the idea that 1,000 people wanted to see more. So when you're doing yourself and you're growing slow, just remember what you do have. And the problem is like so many people look up to the big channels and they see those numbers, but they don't see, like, it doesn't matter what they have, it's what you have. I mean, you have like 50 years of experience.
Right.
You just have to find a way to put that onto video that's in your own way, but don't change. I think that what you're doing right now, it might not feel like it's working for you right now, but in like a year or two, I think you'll explode. Here's the best part.
Yeah.
I'm always right. I don't talk about anything I know anything about. I'm always right. And I'm attracted to things that I know are passionate and come from a real place and come from the heart.
Well, thank you. I've tried to maintain a genuine openness and honesty, reality, and be as engaging as I can. Joey, I'm fired up you came. And listen, we've got a really interesting home here. We got a lot of people on here who are real winners, who have overcome incredible problems and catastrophes in their lives and really put their lives together. And you're a real inspiration, I know, to a lot of the guys who are with us and gals.
Yeah, I've always said the hobby is filled with people with tattered past. The 80% of them, 10% of them are normal people, and the other 10% are cops. You'd be surprised with how many cops had fish tanks.
Oh, I know it. We've got one. My favorite aquarium cop is usually here.
Well, I was to New York, and the NYPD came out to one of my talks 2-3 years ago. Yeah, I thought I was in trouble. I thought I was in trouble. The video I did on my past, I did a talk on that a couple of times beforehand to kind of practice it. And Brooklyn, New York was the first time I talked about it. I broke down. I was crying. I was like,
Oh,
okay,
my.
I can't talk about
Yeah.
that. The video
Yeah.
is sugar-coated. I don't talk about a lot of stuff and what I've been through and what I've seen and, where I'm supposed to be right now. But NYPD showed up and they're like, you are such a positive impact. We would love for you to be able to talk to the youths and guide them, et cetera, et cetera. And, I've done some things with them since then, and mostly in conference calls, and I've dropped by one of their stations a couple of times. But ultimately, the message that I was able to give to them was just be a little more compassionate with the youth, because you don't know what's going on at home.
Right.
And you live, because you're a police officer, odds are you live a normal life, and you don't know what it's like to not want to go home.
Yeah.
And every time I drop my daughter off at high school, I see the random kid or a couple of kids where I'm like, he's walking so slow, he doesn't want to go home, or she doesn't want to go home. And those are the ones I want to help and let them know.
Amen. I love it.
Yeah.
Get them a fish tank. Get them going.
Get them a fish tank.
Really.
Well, I hope you found something you've never seen before. Have a great day.
Nice sharing with us.
Come on back.